Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Behind the Group podcast. I am DJ Keo.
And I am Basil Barrington, and we are back. And you know what we have today? The Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power. I mean, this was supposed to be out like a year after the first
Yeah,
season,
they
but
wait. They were like, "We're gonna fix this," and
come
they
on.
did not fix
No,
this.
no. It's just like,
It's different. It's a little bit better, but worse.
yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. But if we go to the IMDb, I don't know what this is all about
Mm,
because this is season one and also the 3 episodes that they gave us for season two. But in any case,
mm.
the Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power, dude, 6.9. They hate this.
It's gone up. It
Oh,
wasn't lower before.
it's
I thought it
gone
was
up.
lower before.
Well, if you look at every episode from what Amazon just
Mhm.
gave us, they gave us 3 episodes, right?
Mhm.
So the first episode got a 7.3, the second a 7.2, and the third a 6.5. The third was a little laggy, to be
Yeah, it
honest
went
with
kind of
you.
down.
Yeah, you know,
I
so
I gave up, man. I tried. I tried to give this season a chance, and I was like, I can't do it. And this show's so frustrating. I am a huge fan of the movies, The Lord of the Rings, and I haven't put that much time into the books, but I feel like the show is like we're gonna make it look like this thing, but we're not gonna try and make it like this thing. So that's what it feels like. There's
mhm.
no oversight. There's no like trying to follow the movies or the books. Like they're just doing their own thing. Like it's something about because when you do interpretations, you got to make changes, right? And that's fine. But some of these changes look like they're like, screw your lore. Like perfect example of changes, orcs, right? Orcs are not family men. They're wrongly they're just trying to get through their life. They're embodiment of evil. They're evil. All right. They're not misunderstood. They're not the tragic story of the orc was going to work one day and so a car smashed some water on him. He's like, I can't do this anymore. I'm gonna be evil. Like orcs are evil, just pure evil. Stop trying to make them be like you don't understand orcs. Like that misunderstand everything about orcs if you're trying to like you know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
they're like, Just take another look at orcs. They're misunderstood. Like, no, orcs are bad. Just 100% bad. Move on. They're supposed to look evil, and they're evil. Done. That's
you,
it.
you know it's weird because like I can't remember if it was episode number 2 or episode number 3, but they showed an
Mhm.
orc mother holding her baby, and then an orc
There are no orc women. They're none.
dude. This was an orc
That's
woman,
the point.
you know, and I'm
But
just
I'm saying,
like,
but that's the point. There is
right.
no orc women.
And when I saw that, I was like, wait, there are women this ugly, right? I was like they're as ugly as the orcs. But you
Yeah.
know what I realized about this? I guess the first 3 episodes of season two, Rings of Power.
Mhm.
Yo,
Yeah.
it's a lot darker than last season, dude.
Mhm.
I mean, they are killing people,
I'll agree with
slicing
that.
people.
Yeah.
I mean, they stabbed old boy about 1 million times. I stopped
Yeah.
counting at
Sauron.
like a half a
they
million for
they
real. I
gave
was
that
like,
dude the business after his speech.
I was like, wow, this is like, I was like, I couldn't believe it. And then, you know,
Mhm.
there is, I mean, so there is some confusion for me, right? And again,
Mhm.
I'm raw. I'm like, I come in here like raw,
Yeah, that's
pause,
fair.
right? You know, but I'm just like, yo, you know,
Alright,
I'm like,
that's fair.
okay,
You know what? That's fair.
yeah, right. I'm like, is it 3 rings or is it, you know, because old boy is about to make another ring and give it to the dwarfs.
Yeah. So they made rings for humans, they made rings for the elves, and then he made a master ring to rule all the rings. So that's basically what it is. It's like 11 rings or something like that, but,
Okay,
like, you made different rings for different sets of people.
right.
So the lore doing it here is all over the place. And then again, I'm not an expert on Lord of the Rings.
Mhm.
I watched the movie a bunch of times, but I'm not an expert. But like that's my understanding. It literally says it at the beginning of the first movie. They tell you, or no, the third movie. They
Okay.
tell you that they made their rings for everybody.
Yeah, so everyone's intrigued with the rings. I mean, obviously the dwarfs are, you know, because they lost their power and everything else. I don't know what that
Mhm.
was. Was that an earthquake or just like a landfall or, you know, a landslide? I don't know what happened, you know, to
I give up,
the
man. I
kingdom
give
of
up.
the dwarfs, you know. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's I did watch it, and I will say this, it is interesting to me, And
It's better than the other version.
yeah,
Solid season 1 was trash, like top to bottom trash.
but I did
And
enjoy
season
season
2 is
1 too
better.
as a newbie. I'm a newbie now. You saw, I
Mhm.
mean, you saw the movies, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a straight newbie. And so I was just like, okay, this is cool cuz I'm not really into the whole that sort of
Mhm.
what do they call that?
Yeah,
That
it's the sword and sandal
right,
thing
exactly.
yeah.
Sword and sandals, exactly. And dragons.
Well, yeah, you got dragons,
Right,
you got a bunch of stuff. Like,
right.
it's like it's a unique genre for certain types of people.
Yeah. But you know what? I don't know. It looks a little better. Um
I do say that it
it
does look
looks a
better.
little
It runs smoother.
yeah.
I still think the editing is rough. Like the first episode, and like a bunch of stuff is happening, and like it doesn't flow well to explain why things are happening. It's just like, boom, this thing happened, this thing happened. Look, they're on a boat now, they're on the water now, they're on the thing. Like, it's just like a bunch of stuff's going on.
Yeah.
But there's no flow to it to get you into why these things are happening, whatever. It just kind of stuff is going on. Here you go.
Mm,
I don't know. Like, it's kind of frustrating. I think that the directors, the showrunners, I don't think they had a plan, because the problem with the story is they're not. This is not coming from a book. This is like a vague area, like it's like an encyclopedia.
mhm.
The Cinderella is kind of like an encyclopedia explaining what's going on in this time frame, and then it's open.
I was
But
about to say.
Like the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit are books,
Mhm,
and it tells you exactly what happened. Whatever, it's a book, right?
mhm.
The thing they're basing this show off of is vague as hell. The
It's-
Cimarilla is it's like, this is some stuff happened over here 4,000 years ago. This and then, and 2,000 years ago this happened. Like, it's kind of like vague.
Yeah.
It's not like a full story, a proper story, and it's the problem for them, because if they had a story, you could tie the things in better, and the dialogue would be better, because there is no dialogue back there, just telling you what's going on. So, like, it's vague.
Right. Now, you know what? Okay, so The Lord of the Rings, the first movie, when you saw the first Lord of the Rings movie, right?
Mhm.
Um, there were, rings, right? And this in the first movie, right?
Yeah, yeah. The ring was in the first movie.
Well, a ring or multiple
The
rings?
the ring, the
Oh,
one
the
ring.
master ring. Okay.
Yeah, the big boy ring.
Right.
That was in the movie.
In the movies, did they like make additional rings?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Okay.
All this
So,
stuff is done. By the time we get to the movies, everything's all set in place. Everything's going now.
and
So, like, this is the prequel,
mhm,
and they're creating the rings now, and like all the stuff about the rings that they gave to the elves and all this stuff like that. This is all what's going on now for the show, because that's what they have reign over. They
okay.
don't have they don't have the licensing to talk about stuff that happened in the books.
Mm,
They only had the licensing. They had the license for the characters and the names, and that's it. And they're
okay.
trying to tell a story about an area, about a guy that died like 70 years ago, whatever. Like, it's a mess.
Yeah.
It's a mess. And that's why it's a mess, because
Okay.
there's nothing to guide them.
Right. But you know what? Okay, that's very interesting because if you're creating something totally new with some research and
Mhm.
due diligence, we do have Lord of the Rings movies out, right?
Yeah.
But you have something totally new, so you can create this from the ground up again with some muscle
Mhm.
memory because movies are out. And you would think with that sort of information, with that sort of leeway, you can make something very awesome. It's almost like Zack Snyder when he was like, "Okay, forget you like Star Wars. I'm gonna go over here
Yeah,
and do
just
what I
make
want
my
to
own
do."
thing.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So if you have
I'll be
something,
okay with that.
right? So if you have something that's awesome, like you would think that you would want to make it awesome, more awesome than the movies.
Yes.
Like, dude, I
Absolutely.
did this. Your next movie, you want to hire me as a director, that sort of thing.
Yes.
So I don't know what's
Yes.
going on here, man. It's very
I just
interesting to me. But
the,
again, I'm a
the
newbie, so I'm
problem
coming
is,
in and I'm like, yo, you know
yeah.
what? Okay, I like what this looks like. I'm not really into that whole,
Yeah.
sword and sandals thing, but this is good.
Mhm.
Um, it's interesting
I don't think
because
they've read the books, to be honest. The decisions they're making in the show,
yeah,
I think that they're like, we're gonna go in there. Like the lady who did Star Wars,
Hmm.
she's like, do you guys know anything about Star Wars? And she's like, no. All right, like, you're perfect. You're higher. Like,
Hmm.
no, 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 no. There's there's literary people who study Lord of the Rings. That's their job. Like the books and the lore. They speak Elvish. Like it's a whole thing. Like it's a big deal. This is one of the top selling books of all time. It's up there with the Bible. That's like how big this thing is, this story.
Yeah, she's
So yeah, so I
mhm.
mean, like that, there's a whole thing. Like there's resources available to you, the people that they understand this thing, and they're like, hey, you can't do this, you can do this, and they got rid of everybody that's around them that could give them good insight, and they got a bunch of people who don't know what they're doing, and this is what you get because Peter Jackson, when he did the movies, like he is clear that he understood the books and he read them before.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't think these guys have ever read these books.
Would you
I don't see how that's possible.
Okay, they could have brought on like just like, okay, we want like a Lord of Rings master, just bring that consultant on. That person's gonna tell us
But
everything.
there's people who are like that.
Yeah.
That's their job.
That's what I'm saying. They should have hired that person. You don't think they have that person on deck?
They're not there. They're banned. Because this is what
So
happened. The family sold the right because there's the son, the original son, the Tolkien. He was like, oh hell no, you guys never gonna touch this. And then they worked out a deal with Peter Jackson to do the first movie, and they kept it, as close as they possibly could with the budget and everything like that. And then the grandsons and the grandkids are like, we gonna get this money. They're out here like, yo, we gonna get this money. And they're like, sell
they
it to
want
anybody, whatever
TikTok
we
with
got, we
them,
sell it. Yeah,
money phones.
that's what
Like, yo, we're
happened.
getting this money from Lord Amazon. Pay us.
Yeah, that's literally what happened. That's why the first one cost like $500 million, whatever, it's silly, because
That's
they were getting the
dumb.
money.
That's
They
dumb.
got the bag.
You know.
The family members got the bag. But like okay, there's perfect examples. Like you didn't read the book. Galadriel is like this ethereal witch. Like she's this beautiful elfin thing. She's not a warrior,
Mhm.
and she's got a husband. He's in the movies. You can see this guy. He's standing next to her. He's giving her advice in the movies. Where is this dude? Why is she by herself? This guy's an elf too. He's like a whatever 1,000 years old too. They're like the same age. They're together right now. Like he'll say, like Galadriel has a husband right now during the show. Like she's supposed to have a husband. Where's that guy? Where's that guy at? He's in the movies.
Maybe not.
I think he's in all 6 movies. I think
Oh,
he's in
I thought you meant
the
the series.
Hobbit.
He's obviously not in the series.
No, but see, he's not in the TV show, but he's in
Yeah.
the movie. I'm pretty sure he's in the Hobbit. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure. I know for a fact he's in Lord of the Rings. I know for a fact he's in there because I've seen him.
And the hobbits are the Hartfords, right? Harfoot.
Well, they don't have the rights to the Hobbits. They made up a new term, and that's the new guys for the Hobbits.
The
'Cause they don't have the
Flintstones. I
rights.
said we were going to call them the Flintstones. Yeah.
They got the Flintstones.
Okay. So, and then they have the storyline that they've been, dude,
Shenanigans,
they've been
right?
working on this
Shenanigans.
storyline since the last season, right? The first season, where you have the big tall guy. We don't know who he is. We don't know if he's a
Yeah,
wizard or
it's
whatever.
supposed to be Gandalf. That's
Okay,
what it's supposed to be.
okay, and then you have the Hartford, what is it? The Harfoot, the Harfoot
The
women.
Harfoots.
Yeah, like they're following him. He's
Annoying,
like creating like
annoying
trees.
little
Right.
people,
And I'm just like,
right?
and so they've been on this like, sort of like arc with this sort of group since the last season. I don't know what's up with them.
Because they're not interesting. Like, okay,
I mean, but what is
when
it
you
that
had
they
the
do though? What
Hobbits,
do they do?
the
What
Hobbits,
is he trying to do?
no, but the Hobbits are integral to the Lord of the Rings storyline. They're very important because they're pure of heart and they're the only people that can hold on to the ring and not get corrupted by it. So it's a huge deal. So imagine you have this thing, it's like a nuclear weapon, and these guys can only touch it, otherwise it's gonna go off, right? And they use the hobbits as you're carrying this sucker for us. Anybody else can't touch it because we're gonna ruin our lives if we touch this thing. And I'm talking about the elves, the humans, everybody. They were like, we cannot touch this thing. Only the hobbits because they're pure of heart. They haven't been corrupted by the evil world yet. That's the point of the hobbits in the story.
Yeah.
They're like childlike character.
Yeah, they are. And they smell too, and they don't take showers and baths.
Yeah, that's in the movie.
But let me ask you this here. I want to talk about, we're going to wrap this up, but I want to talk about the two Rons. So you have Elron, right? That's his name, Elron?
Mhm. Yeah, Elrond.
Okay.
Who's a G in the movie?
What's
He's a
his,
friggin'
what's
G.
his deal, dude? I mean, get off your emotional kick. It's just like the people have rings. You can't destroy the rings. Come on. How can you destroy the rings? The show is called Rings of Power. You can't destroy the rings.
Yo, Elrond is a friggin' G in the movies, man. He's gangster in the movies. He's holding his own. And he's a badass in the movie.
And then in the third episode, they brought back that black elf, because the girl he was dating in the first season was killed. And I don't even know the storyline. Now, let me get to the last Ron, right? So, again, this is something that was brought over from season 1, Sauron, right? Mm-hmm. This figure that everyone's scared of. Sauron.
Yes.
But dude, they've been talking about him since the first season. Who is he? Where is he? What does he look like? Does he have brown eyes? Does he have blue eyes? I mean, what's up?
Wait, but here's the thing, right? Because they don't know what to do with him. That's the problem for this show. Because in the movies, he is gangster. Everybody's scared of this dude. Yeah. And rightfully so. Mm-hmm. This he has unlimited armies. He's slaying people like he's a straight gangster. And then they don't know how to make him an interesting character. So they want to make him like he's troubled. Or, you got to make him so he's sympathetic to... No, Sauron's evil. And he's gangster. Why? Just make a bad guy be bad. Every TV show you watch right now, they have to make the sympathetic person that's evil. And, if only they got hugged 2 more times, they probably would be a good person. Like, that's what they're doing. Everything.
2 scoops of ice cream,
make the guy
please.
Evil and call it a day. Done.
Yeah. I mean, and can we see him? Can like when does he appear? Can we see him? Because again, they've been talking about Sauron since season 1. Mm-hmm. Don't know who he is. I mean, I thought he appeared last season, but apparently he did not.
He's implied.
Yeah, he's they thought it was what's his name, Halbrand or Halbrand or whatever.
Yeah, that's him. That's supposed to be Sauron. That's supposed to be him.
Yeah, but you know what?
Exactly.
It's not.
Exactly.
It's not, because look at him. He's just like chilling, going from like country to country. Just like, come on, dude. Bro. What do you? If you are Sauron, you are in the middle of the orcs. You were captured by the orcs, or you actually went to their village, right? They got you there. Just turn into Sauron and just like, so I don't get it.
You guys work for me now. Right. How about that? Like, you're supposed to come in the block like Nino Brown, like, you work for me now.
Right.
Let's go. It's just everyone has to make him sympathetic. Yeah. And he's just evil.
How does the orcs multiply? How do they reproduce?
They're elves that are corrupted and evil and made to because elves are like 8 feet tall, right? They're giants and they're supposed to be beautiful or whatever. And orcs are just deformed elves.
Okay, so these elves, these regular elves, they may have offsprings, but then some may be deformed, and then they'll send them to the orcs.
But you gotta make the elves into orcs. Like, yes, you gotta make them.
Okay, so
they can't have kids. There's no kids going on.
Okay, so in order for the orcs to multiply, they have to get little kids and make them into orcs?
No, like you got to get elves and make them. You got to deform the elves and turn them into orcs.
Okay, so
I gather that's what happened.
Okay, so
there's a whole process to make it.
So these are elves.
I'm not an expert on that, but like as far as my understanding,
right. So these are elves, like regular elves. The orcs may capture them and say, "You're going to become an orc," something like that, and then they become an orc. Through some process,
something like that. Yeah, I'm not. This is again, like I'm not an expert.
That's silly.
But like,
that's silly.
From my understanding, is they're corrupted.
And the other thing is this, right? This is probably the first show I've ever watched where there aren't any like really good looking women in the show.
Bruh, bruh.
None.
Bruh.
I mean, the one who may be the best looking one, and I'm not saying this because that's my flavor, but it's like it's the elves, it's the elves, not the elves, the dwarf wife. she's the like
Okay.
best looking one, even though I don't, she's a big woman and there's nothing wrong with that. That's not my flavor. But I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm just like, where are the beautiful women? You don't see that.
Bro, the dwarfs are supposed to look like men, man. They're supposed to have beards like just like their husbands. Like that's it. According to the lore,
Mhm.
right? Dwarf
They changed
women
the
look like
dude.
the dudes.
They
They
changed
got
it,
beards
man.
and everything. They made her look nicer because they didn't want to. Because normally they don't show them. They just like move on. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
They're there though.
No.
They're in the background. Then they're in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah. So it's this is really interesting. We're not gonna rate this because this is only, 3
I can't.
episodes in.
It hurts my heart reading that thing.
We're also not going to review this episodically either. We're gonna come back at episode number 5.
I'm gonna try and try and
Maybe.
get through it. But it's tough. It's better though. I will say
Maybe.
this: it is better. I sat through the whole first season, so
Mhm.
it's possible. But this is tough.
Well,
man.
you know what? They're actually let me take that back because there are some new shows coming out during this season, the season 2 of the Rings of Power.
No, I'll finish it. I'll have time soon. I'll
Yeah.
have time. I'll finish it, but like it's gonna be rough.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is gonna be
Okay,
rough.
so we're gonna come back to the Lord of the Rings, either like when it's over or in the middle sometime, So,
Mhm.
but I mean, for me, I like it. It's kind of a cool sort of like look. I actually saw the first episode. I watched it. It came out Thursday. And it came out Thursday early, like 3 a.m. here on the East Coast. And then I watched it Friday. It was raining Friday and Saturday too. So I was like, oh, okay, let me just like chill out. But yeah, it was I like what I saw with the 3 episodes. I want to see more. I think the writing is sort of like goofy, because it's just
they
like
can't help
it's
themselves.
just like I'm like it's almost like you said something very interesting. The second season of Picard, I was like, did the showrunner or the director ever watch Star Trek? Not Star Wars, Star Trek. I mean, did they ever watch Star Trek? Because they're not getting this. And the first season was like the first season was like kind of weird. So it's just like you make a very good point. Did they actually watch the movies?
I don't think they did.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't. It feels like they did.
Yeah.
Or they're like, Peter Jackson's a bum. We can do better. Like that's the only explanation I got.
You ain't making
There's
$1 billion.
no other
off
explanation
of this
for that.
For real, man.
I don't know how. Because like, Peter Jackson took some liberties with the movies. Like there's a lot of people are not in the movies that are from the books, but he merged characters, he changed some stuff around. But like for the most part, it's a good representation of what the books are. And that's why the fans that for the books, like they like it so much because this is the first time they've got like somebody like in earnest put together a movie, and it's like 16-hour epic. Like these movies are like 4 hours each, man.
Yeah, I know.
It's a 16-hour epic, and like when you start watching it, it just goes. You're not sitting there like, oh man, these bums again. I can't wait for it. Just goes. A lot of times I'm watching the show and stuff's happening, I'm just rolling my eyes. I'm like, get these guys off the screen. I gotta fast forward.
Yeah, it's a lot of dead space.
When I'm watching movies, I don't do that at all. I'm like, I'm engrossed in this.
It's a lot of walking and talking in this joint. I'm like, oh, dude, that was 15 minutes of like just a a conversation. It was just like, why do I need to do that? Like, just send that via voicemail or something. Anyway, like I said, this is Lord of the Rings of Power. Amazon gave us 3 episodes. This is season 2. We'll come back if we have anything else to say about it. Well, there you have it. Thanks for checking out another episode of the Behind the Groove podcast. I am Basil Barrington.
I am DJ Keo.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And until next time, peace.
All right.